The world's largest cocktail party went down yesterday as Georgia was able to hold on and beat Florida with Billy Gonzalez in his first game as the interim head coach. Joe, when you review this game, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Blake, first and foremost, I still have a big issue with the fact that Georgia comes out of this game and they can't get any sacks. A serious problem with the state that Florida is currently in, that you couldn't get any sacks on DJ Lagway. Outside of that concern, I still think that this Georgia team is showing in a rivalry game that we talked about in the preview that will always find a way to be tight no matter the standing of either team. It will always be a close battle regardless of circumstance. I thought that Georgia showed some really strong resiliency in the final quarter of this game, and they had every right to lose it, stepping up and making the plays when they had to. The 4th and 1 stop where they stop ball right at the line, they get the ball back. Gunner Stockton has a huge third down. It was like a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 throw to Zachariah Branch, always making the plays that he needs to when the moment calls upon him. And then they finish the drive off with a great Bowen touchdown run. And then the final opportunity when they get the ball back, that one play where it was like a sweep and you had a bunch of the offensive line that was coming in motion. You had, I think it was Delp, or maybe it was Lucky, the other tight end. Everybody was just flowing downhill, pissed off with a focus to finish off the game and to win the game. They can play messy for 3 quarters, and it could end up catching up to them, Blake, down the line, because it's unsustainable to win in this fashion. But I got to give Kirby credit. I got to give this team credit. You got a close game against a rival in the swamp when things always get
it's not in swamp, Jacksonville. It's in Jacksonville every year.
I thought that because there was I'm thinking no. I know that it's in Jacksonville, but I thought that there was construction with the stadium. Has that not happened yet?
Maybe it was. I didn't know.
I'm gonna double check.
Yeah, double check.
But still, I give them a lot of credit for the way that they finished.
All right, check that really quickly. But you know what is correct? It went exactly as you and I predicted. I don't think they had any idea what they were going to see from Billy Gonzalez and his team early. None. Now, here's the truth.
It was in Jacksonville.
Right, I thought so.
That's in the future. Never mind. I'm a dummy. Sorry.
You're okay. You're all right. But it did go as predicted the way that we saw it, okay? The game's basically tied at halftime, and you sit there and you ask yourself, okay, at least I thought it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. I mean, in the preview, we talked about I don't think you really know what to see from them. Georgia's really not a first-half team. More than the no-sack situation, I think their slow starts are worse because they come out, they'll dominate in the first drive. The scripted plays, they're really good, and then they'll shoot themselves in the foot a couple of times, and they're like, oh. It's like a boxer. I feel like every time Georgia gets punched in the mouth, then they just dominate everybody that they play. The only problem is that when they got punched in the mouth versus Alabama, they tried to swing for a haymaker, got countered, and got uppercut and got knocked down. Regardless of that, it went exactly how I thought because you had no idea what to expect. Joe, there were no motions. There's no things that Billy ran. Completely different play caller. There was no film on him. It felt like a week 1 game to me in a lot of ways, but ironically with 2 teams that have been playing in a little bit more of midseason form. I thought that both teams in the first half were trading punches. I thought that the Lagway scramble, hitting Trey Wilson, all those kinds of things were fantastic, but both teams traded punches. It's the second half where Georgia's like, all right, we know what they're going to do now, and now we're going to adjust. But the big thing is it was very noticeable that Florida, just didn't have a head coach or a coach that was in his first game as a head coach. 2 for 11 on third down. I thought the way that they managed both fourth down situations was very questionable. Your defense is playing very well. Why you're going for it, I have no idea. I guess Billy Gonzalez felt like he had nothing to lose there. But Joe, I gotta get to this. Georgia just plays around with its food. We talked about this with Texas last year. They just constantly are playing around. And then all of a sudden in the second half, Gunner Stockton's got to come out of nowhere and make big throws and big situations for them to come through. I get it. It's a great win. But if Gunner Stockton did not do some of the things that he did, Zachariah Branch, by the way, everybody said all he does is catch screens. Well, he had 10 catches. yesterday and completely went off. Did Zachariah Brandt's 10 for 112. Look, they are a good team, but I don't know week per week what I'm getting for Georgia. I feel like that if they're not remotely close in the first half, I don't know if they can come punching back. And that's what happened to them against Alabama. And then against Florida here, it felt like a lot of the same thing. The Sturdivant catch the non-catch was a catch to me, by the way. And I thought Florida got hosed. I thought Florida completely got hosed there. I thought Sturdivant got his hands underneath the ball. I thought that should have been a catch. But, I mean, it was
too hard to tell. It was too hard to tell.
I mean, when the ball bounces off of white gloves into his chest and he's firm.
But there wasn't – I thought that there was an angle that showed that it looked like it hit the ground. It just didn't seem like there was very much clarity. That's the problem if you don't have
I thought it caught the football. You 1,000 guys in a bar, 100 guys in the bar, 50 say catch, 50 say not. I thought it was a catch, regardless of that. This defense that we continue to say has issues and has problems, they do. Boy, do they come up when every time that they feel like that they need to. I mean, every time. It doesn't matter the game, whether it's Tennessee, whether it's this past week or yesterday versus Florida, they found a way. But, man, I constantly feel like Georgia's playing around here sometimes, and they better start getting off the better first halves or there's going to be a team that gets up on you and you're not going to be able to come back from.
Well, and especially because you can't generate sack production, so you're missing out on having plays when you're down to completely shift the momentum of a game. You producing a havoc play like a sack or producing a turnover off of a strip sack, if you can't get home, you can't create moments in a game for your team to re-enter and to be able to put points up quickly, whatever it is. They have to start games hotter, and they need to take leads because to this point, if you can't rush the passer and you're living by this style of play where it comes down to the fourth quarter and you're just hoping to get the one stop when you need it, it's going to cost them at a certain point. I still really respect the way that Kirby has been able to get his team to finish the way that they have because it means more than people realize. If your team's capable of doing so, you're going to be able to do it in a championship game. You're going to be able to do it in a playoff game. He's done it in the past. He did it last year. But we can't see this happen every single week and expect it not to produce a huge, huge issue in the future.
Or like the errant snap. I mean, that's a drive where you got to go get some points to start really separating here, and then you have a bad negative play. You can't overcome it. It's just the miscues continue to go to put on. But holding them for 2 and 11 on third down, I thought in the second half they made Lagway's life really a lot of hell. I mean, the biggest play was the 20-yard scramble and a QB draw. But I will tell you this, it seemed like that young secondary, I know they gave up some big plays, but when it mattered most, they started making some big ones. I do feel like we're seeing a very talented but yet very young team. That's what I feel like. But you're right. Joe, there's a play right after the half. Go look at the line of scrimmage and go look how far off the ball they are, by the way. It doesn't look right. I mean, like I don't know how to explain it, but you're right. They better start generating pressure. I'll give Florida this, man. They're very talented. They got so much talent. But, Joe, I got to be real with you, man. How does this keep happening? I mean, like, how does this keep happening? I just don't get it. The fourth down situations, they got completely outcoached, and that's just the bottom line. Yeah, I got to give Georgia a lot of credit, though. When it came crunch time, they just kept making the plays when they needed to. And then the fourth down situation, when you get blown up in the backfield and ball can't get moving, and that's a very physical and very talented team that you just beat.
I think it just shows that this team has the right bodies and they have the right athletes. And it's the proof that if you recruit Florida the right way, you can have a very talented team. But if you don't have the guy that can lead that talent and develop that talent, it's not going to get very far. I think that just a simple vindication and evidence for what we already knew is that the Florida job is a great job. It's possible to produce results and to win games, but they need to get the hire right. They need to bring in the right person that can be the marriage of both. This team wasn't bad. I think it was just assumed. Everybody thought that Florida was a bad team because of the way that things transpired. They were in all the games that they've been in for most of this year, and this was another example of that.
Well, we're going to talk about this team next. Do you know what championship level teams do? With an interim coach like Ohio State. Ohio State at halftime, it was 17-14. Well, that game ended 38-14. They didn't score in the second half, did Penn State, right? So, again, you don't really know what to expect to a team, lame duck, interim head coach, whatever. But championship level teams know how to separate. And can Georgia find that way? That sack production thing's going to have to change here. They're going to be looking on the outside, looking in. All right. Joe, let's transition here.